The Lives of the Saints by Father Alban Butler, January 22nd, St Vincent Pallotti. As declared by Pius XI, who called St Vincent Pallotti the pre-founder of Catholic action, he was a century ahead of his time in terms of his ideas on the apostolate. In a world that considered all forms of active apostolate as proper and exclusive to the clergy, St Vincent conceived a threefold program: the participation of all Catholics in the apostolate among the pagans, the participation of all Catholics in the work of confirmation and deepening of the faith among those who already possessed it, the participation of all Catholics in the works of mercy, both spiritual and temporal. St. Vincent's contribution to the realization of this program consisted, first of all, in his own life, secondly, in the diffusion of his ideas and aspirations, finally, in the founding of a congregation of priests and lay brothers who lived in community without taking vows, assisted by a women's institute and by clerics and lay people affiliated with the foundation. St. Vincent called this organization the Society of the Catholic Apostolate. Vincent Pallotti was born in Rome in 1795. His father was a well-to-do grocer. Vincent's vocation to the priesthood manifested itself at an early age. His beginnings in school were not very brilliant. His teacher, Father Ferrari, said, "Vincent is a miniature saint, but he has the head of a donkey." However, Vincent's talent developed over the years, and he was ordained a priest when he was only 23 years old. Soon after, he obtained a doctoral degree in theology and was appointed assistant professor at the Sapienza. Vincent's friendship with St. Gaspar del Bufalo only increased his apostolic zeal, and the saint soon resigned his professorship to devote himself to active pastoral work. Vincent's fame as a confessor soon spread. The saint held this office in some of the colleges of Rome, among which were the Scots, the Irish, and the English, where he became a great friend of the rector, Nicholas Wiseman. But not everyone was equally fond of the priest. When he was appointed to a position in the Neapolitan Church in Rome, he encountered incredible opposition from the clergy. What is most surprising is that such opposition lasted for 10 years before the competent authorities took notice and put an end to the scandal. The most implacable of Vincent's enemies, the first vicar of that church, lived long enough to testify in his favor during his beatification process. Father Pallotti never gave the least reason to deserve the bad treatment he received, the vicar declared. To me, he always gave the greatest signs of respect. He would uncover his head whenever he spoke to me, and on several occasions he tried to kiss my hand. St. Vincent inaugurated his work for conversion and social justice with a group of clergy and laity. This was the nucleus from which the Society of the Catholic Apostolate took definitive form in 1835. The founder wrote to a young professor, "You are not made for the silence and austerities of the Trappists and hermits. Sanctify yourself in the world, in your social life, in your work, in your rest, in your duties as a teacher, and in your contacts with publicans and sinners. Holiness consists simply in doing always and everywhere the will of God." St. Vincent organized schools for shoemakers, tailors, transport workers, carpenters, and vegetable sellers in order to complete their education and develop in them pride in their work. He also established evening courses for young workers and an institute to improve the methods of farmers. All this did not make him lose sight of the deeper aspect of his mission. In 1836, he inaugurated the practice of celebrating Mass each day of the octave of the Epiphany, according to a different rite, to pray especially for the reunion of the Eastern dissidents with Rome. The practice was established in 1847 in the Church of Sant'Andrea del Valle, and since then it has continued to the present day. It has been rightly said that Rome had a second St. Philip Neri in St. Vincent Pallotti. How many times did the saint return home half naked after having given away his clothes? How many sinners were reconciled by him? On one occasion, the saint disguised himself as a woman to visit a sick person who had promised to kill the first priest who approached him. His fame as an exorcist was very great. He possessed the gift of reading hearts and foretelling the future, and he cured the sick with a blessing or a few words of encouragement. According to Pius XI, St. Vincent Pallotti foresaw everything concerning Catholic action, not excluding the name. And Cardinal Pellegrinetti added, he did all he could and even much of what he could not. St. Vincent died at the age of 55 on January 22, 1850. Perhaps he caught the cold that turned into pleurisy for having given away his coat before a long session in a cold confessional. When the viaticum was brought to him, the saint stretched out his arms and murmured, Jesus blessed the congregation with a blessing of goodness, with a blessing of wisdom. He lacked the strength to conclude with a blessing of power. He was canonized by His Holiness John the 23rd on January 20th, 1963.